So Trevor Bauer is on administrative leave. If you're a fan of Nothing Personal and you've been listening, but if you're new to Nothing Personal, you don't know, you can go back in the archives. We've done quite a few things on Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer is the guy who had rough, what he calls consensual sex. The woman said it wasn't consensual. He choked her out, and then he was doing stuff to her in various places. He said it was consensual. We both like it rough. We both agreed that we were going to do it this way. I am innocent. And then when he was not criminally charged, he came forward again to say, look, I'm now innocent. When the temporary restraining order against him was lifted, he said, look, I'm not a threat. I'm innocent. Meanwhile, he has been on administrative leave for almost a year now. What was it, in July of 21 that this came out? And he was immediately placed on administrative leave. What's the day, Coca? Somewhere in July is my guess. I'm going to say, just for fun, I'll say July 9th. And administrative leave means that your team has to pay you every 2 weeks, but you can't play. Administrative leave is based on the commissioners saying, we are going to do an investigation, and then we are going to decide whether or not you ought to be punished. And a punish can be a fine, it can be a suspension, or it can be nothing. But administrative leave is sort of purgatory because not only are you getting paid, but also you're not playing. So for a team, it was July 2nd. Thank you, Coco, off by a week. So for a team like the Dodgers, they've been paying Bauer $30 million a year for this year at the rate of $30 million a year every 2 weeks, and he hasn't pitched. The irony is the Dodgers don't want him to pitch. They don't want him to be in their clubhouse again. They are done with Trevor Bauer. They should have been done before they signed him. They should have had a clue when he disrespected Terry Francona. Trevor Bauer is one of the great examples of the juice not being worth the squeeze. But baseball is in a pickle right now. The commissioner extended the administrative leave with agreement by the union, because you have to agree both sides to place a player on extended administrative leave. The first 10 days are on the House. After that, it has to be by agreement. The union has 1,199 members who want Trevor Bauer to disappear, and one member who says, hey, why aren't you representing me? This is ridiculous. Why don't we have a decision from Rob? The commissioner, he's already suspended people from Marcell Ozuna to Aroldis Chapman. There's numerous people who've been suspended under this sort of rule that baseball has that if there is abuse or any sort of behavior that is not becoming of a professional baseball player, you are subject to discipline. And what that discipline is for the commissioner to decide. But here's a little nugget that has never once come up in the years this has been going on. The player who has been suspended by baseball in every instance has agreed to the suspension, which means the player has not appealed the suspension, which is the player's right to do under the collective bargaining agreement, where there would be a third-party arbitrator, not like arbitration for salary where there's 3 arbitrators on a panel. This is in front of one person, and that one person would decide whether or not the suspension was warranted, whether or not it should be shorter. Can't make it longer. They can leave it the same. They can make it shorter, or they can get rid of it altogether. But not one time has a player availed himself of this opportunity because there has been full agreement the entire time in each case. The reason why MLB has not announced a Trevor Bauer suspension, which I promised you is coming, and I did a wait to see that he will go from administrative leave right to suspension, and I have another wait to see, I'm sure, that he will never wear a Dodgers uniform again. But the reason why baseball has not been able to announce the suspension is that when they approached Trevor Bauer said, I will not accept a 1-game suspension. Forget a year or 2 years or a month or 20 games. 0 is my number. Rob Manfred knows very well he can't suspend him for 0 games. It's out of the question. Marcell Ozuna got suspended for 20 games, was seen choking his wife, domestic violence, charged with a felony, but ended up being pled out. He got 20 games but got time served. meaning he could come back and start this season playing for the Braves again, but he lost 20 games worth of pay from last year because he was on administrative leave and gets paid, as I said, while you're on administrative leave. But Bauer will not agree. What Bauer is saying is that he is going to appeal whatever the commissioner says. That means it's going to go to arbitration because Bauer is not going to settle, which means there's going to be a hearing. There's going to be testimony. It means the commissioner will have to explain why he made the decision he made. He'll have to justify why he made the decision, present evidence from the Department of Investigations within Major League Baseball as to why he made the decision he made. Trevor Bauer will be able to present evidence to the arbitrator that it was purely consensual. He'll be able to show text messages. He'll be able to show that this woman contacted him and wanted to have sex. Anyway, it's going to be a sideshow. And the Dodgers are very interested third parties because when it comes to their competitive balance tax, their luxury tax threshold payroll, that whole Steve Cohn level, if you get to 290 or above, you pay 80%. If you're above 230 million, you pay 20%. It goes up and up and up. If Trevor Bauer is suspended for any part of this year, his salary doesn't count toward the competitive balance tax. So the Dodgers are asking Rob to suspend him for 2 years because that would cover the balance of Trevor Bauer's contract with the Dodgers. Rob Manfred's not going to suspend him for 2 years. My guess is Rob Manfred, Coca, I got to wait to see for you. So book this. The Trevor Bauer suspension will be greater than 120 games and less than 200 games. It will fall between 120 and 200. Then there will be an arbitration, and once we see what's being presented, I'll give a wait to see of where the arbitrator comes. But for now, the wait to see is Trevor Bauer will be suspended by baseball for between 120 and 200 games. And the interesting thing is that now baseball will use a suspension that they can justify because they know it's going to be appealed. And it's a nightmare for baseball. It is fine for the Dodgers, but they want resolution so they know where their payroll is going to be so they can add at the deadline. One of the reasons why they didn't sign Kenley Jansen, by the way, who went to the Braves, is they didn't know where their actual payroll was going to be because of Trevor Bauer. So it's impacted several teams already. Dodgers, Braves, etc.